platoon, and DJ is right in the middle of a significant role on this team. It won't surprise me based on if he is healthy and what he is as a hitter and a defender.
31 degrees, some light snow falling in Central Park, and that's what's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
Your official home to talk New York sports is WFAN. Call us anytime at 888-808-1019. The Fan, 1019 FM, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Inside the 10 p.m. hour on the Fan in New York, I got 2 more hours to do what I do best. Dial 888-808-1019. You can get on the line. I got people waiting. Let's get to them. Scott in Shelton, Connecticut. Thanks for holding.
Hi, Keith. Thanks for taking my call. I really enjoy your show, especially with the fact that you're a Yankee and a Cowboys fan like myself. Eli Manning will eventually make the Hall of Fame, but my question for you, and then I have another one if you give me a minute, was do you think that when Eli was drafted and was supposed to go to the San Diego Chargers, and he said, I want to play there, do you think with him going to New York, there was some animosity with the NFL that maybe carried all the way over for the end of his career? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, no, sir. I don't think so. I think the NFL liked it, loved it, especially how it turned out. I was just listening to, I think I was listening to Evan and Tiki today and hearing them talk about, the NFL and it being collectively bargained and how success for one team is good for the next. I don't think that there's any grudges. I think it worked out great for, the NFL. They have offices in New York. They want the Jets and Giants to be good. They want the Jets and Giants on prime time. No, Eli forcing his way here and winning Super Bowls here, I think they were all on board. I don't think there's any animosity. I just think, like I was saying before, they hate us because they ain't us. They look at New York and they're a little envious, and the way that we talk about our own, they don't necessarily agree with. And the phrase that I used was, we look at those 2 Super Bowls like gems. They look at them like flukes.
And I think that's the same with some Cowboy bias. And look how long it took to get Drew Pearson in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, of course.
Forever for him, which leads me to my second question. You have the Chicago Bears, the Super Bowl shuffle, that team in the 80s. They had like 5 or 6 guys that are in the Hall of Fame from that one team that won the Super Bowl. And you have the Cowboys who won 3. Of course, you got the triplets. Then you had Larry Allen for 1 year. You had Haley for a few years, but no Darren Woodson. I want to know what's going on in one of those meetings that the guy changed positions from linebacker to safety, all-time leading tackler, and he can't get in the Hall of Fame. He's been like a 3-4 year finalist. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he should be in. He's got rings. He's been a face of the league. He's been present. He's been around, and his name popped up the same night with Eli because people were speaking out about him getting snubbed, specifically Dallas Cowboys fans and writers and reporters and people in Dallas. Hey, it's just, I think the further we get away from the time you played, other guys jump in line ahead of you, fair or not. It just is what it is. But no, you're right about that. And even mentioning the Bears team, and it's all very subjective. It depends on who's voting. It depends on timing. And like I said, I hate that they treat it like a club, like, all the clubs at full capacity. It's not at full capacity. There's unlimited capacity. You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not.
Those Chicago Bear guys, I mean, they were very good players, but that 5 or 6 of them on the team that you only have 1 Super Bowl, come on. I mean, there's an issue there.
Right. And you
got Strahan, who was a great Hall of Famer, and those 2 Super Bowls Eli won were based on his defense. I know he made some phenomenal, all-time great highlight memory plays, but his defense beat those Patriot teams.
Yeah, it certainly was the main thing. But I mean, the quarterback position is the hardest position to play, and we've seen so many guys not get it done, not come through in those moments. And for Eli to be ice cold and get it done, I would hope that carries more weight. But Clearly it doesn't. Thanks for the call, Scott. 888-808-1019. Yeah, it was painful for Darren Woodson. I saw a quote that he feels like it's a failure, falling short of the Hall of Fame again. And that's what's tough, too. These guys work their asses off to be the best of the best on the football field. And then when they leave it behind, they all are kind of hoping and wishing for this day where they get honored like that. And, it gets dangled in front of them and taken away from them. And it's not fair. There's no like exact rhyme or reason why who gets in and who doesn't. Like I say, it's subjective. It depends on who's voting and who's from where and what they experienced, what they thought. That's another thing too. Like our experiences here in New York and New Jersey, just in life and sports in general, are different than people in other parts of the country. It has something to do with it. Let's go to Lakewood and talk to Moses next on the Fan. What's up, man?
What's up, Keith? How's it going?
Hanging in there. Time is flying by. Less than 2 hours left in the show. Thanks for calling again.
So I don't know why it's a debate. First of all, with the whole Strand thing, it's business. He doesn't have to have loyalty to the Giants. It's business. Another thing. Next, you've got to trade back. You get more assets. You get Jackson Dart. He'll throw darts to Malik. And then another thing. Let's go Devils.
Yeah, let's go Devils. Four Nations face-off coming up. I'll be on late tomorrow, so we'll tap in with that. I think the Devils are in a good place. Hope that Markey is good to go when we come back from the break, and the Devils make some moves before the deadline, and we push forward to we push forward and hopefully make a run in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Going back to what you said about Malik Neighbors, what did you say? Trade up? You said something about trade back.
Assets. Usually quality is better than quantity, but in this case, even if you have Patrick Mahomes and the Giants, he'll get destroyed. You don't have a Noah line. It's just a waste. You get more draft picks. You get a solid O line. You have Jackson Dart. He's good. He'll throw darts to Malik Neighbors.
I like what you did there, Moses. See, I think there's just like an order of operations here. I think they've done enough research on Shedeur Sanders and they like him enough that if he's there, they're taking him. So if Shedeur Sanders is there at 3, he will be drafted by the Giants. If he's not there at 3, then you trade back. I don't think you have to take Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Hold on, give me a second to finish the thought. You don't take Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter because you have to take a quarterback. You trade back, and if you like Jackson Dart, which we don't know or not, like you can watch and wait to see how he falls, where he falls to, and maybe you have 2 picks in the draft. Maybe you can take the best player available and Jackson Dart. I think there's options for them if they miss out on Shedeur, but I think there's also a chance for them to land. They just need to be prepared to do what's best. Go on.
And also, if you do draft Shedeur, the lights are bright enough under New York and also the whole Deion Sanders thing is just too much like extra stuff to go with it. Why do you want it? He's obviously not the best player in draft.
Why do you want it? Deion Sanders is going to be in Colorado during the season. He's going to be coaching every Saturday for the Buffaloes. He's not going to be that much of a distraction. Thanks for the call, Moses. 888-808-1019. I talked about this with Shedeur and the appeal of Shedeur in New York. He's already a millionaire. He's already got fancy watches, cars. He's already rich. This is not going to be anything different for him. He talked about taking his NFL money and putting it into the NIL collective back in Colorado so that his dad can continue to get good players to come there. This is a kid that came to New York and was throwing in the street with Malik Neighbors. This is a kid that came to New York and decided to shop till he dropped. This guy hit all of the designer Louis Vuitton. He went shopping while he was here for the Heisman Trophy. I think that it won't be too big for him. I was listening to a couple interviews from his dad at Radio Row where he said his son has been training and preparing his whole life for this, and he's ready to be the face of a franchise. This is Deion's kid. He has been around the NFL. He has met a ton of NFL players. The kid is NFL ready. I do think it's going to be an adjustment for him in the NFL as far as the speed of the game and adjusting his game to NFL play. He's been at Colorado. He's been at Jackson State. That is not NFL level at all. He also hasn't really had an offensive line. So I think he has a propensity to flee and get out of the pocket and try and spin out and find grass to set his feet and then chuck the ball. I think he holds on to the ball too long. We saw Caleb Williams this year try to do a lot of that Houdini stuff, spinning out. Like, it can get you in trouble. And Shedeur Sanders is not very fleet of foot. He's not fast. He's not shifty. He's not like that. He wants to throw the ball. I don't think he'd be a bad pick for the Giants because of the glitz and the glamour and the that's what you want. It's New York. You want a star to come in here. You want to sell jerseys. John Mara was talking about Saquon Barkley is the most popular player by far. Okay, you lose the most popular player. You need to replace that with a Shedeur Sanders, who I think just broke 100,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. He's got millions of followers. There are young kids across this country wearing Colorado #2 jerseys, wearing his merch. Like, he comes in with his own fan base. He comes into New York, and I don't think it's too big for him. If anything, right, we're watching the Giants be mocked by their legends. We're watching the Giants have the worst season ever. Like, this is the injection of star power that they need right now. To me, I think it's either Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter. Both of those kids are rich and famous and ready, and they're football players. Like, they care most about football. They're going to lock in and play football. Let's go to CJ in Brooklyn on the Fan next. What's up, man?
Hey, Keith, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for calling in.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, no, I'm just listening in here. The point being made about the Giants as far as the quarterback situation going forward. And I guess I have 2 points more towards their plans for the draft and then for free agency. Personally, I think that free agency has to be won when it comes to the quarterback decision. And I think if that means going and getting a Matthew Stafford to hold it down for a year, or whoever you draft this year, or maybe even next year. But I think that has to be, priority number one, because obviously free agency comes before the draft. And even if we don't get him, then, we got to really, consider, like you said, going forward.
Not to cut you off, it's different, right? Like, to get Stafford, that's a trade that you can't just sign him as a free agent. It takes two to tango. That would take the Rams to be willing to accept whatever package the Giants send to them. Go on.
Yeah, but definitely makes sense. And I think Steelers quarterback is giving my name now, but you were talking about getting him.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields would be a perfect fit to hold it down, and at the very least with Fields to kind of see where he is at in his development, because I think quarterbacks only have so much time before they're quote unquote like ruined in the league if they don't get the right coaching. And I think Dable would be the right guy to kind of help develop him and see where he's at, because I don't think if we do take him and let's say he doesn't develop, let's say we only have like 5 or 6 wins with him this coming season, I don't think that should stop us from double dipping and seeing another quarterback in next year's draft. I think we need to take multiple stabs at this kind of quarterback search over the next 2 years, specifically if we don't get a chance to draft Shedeur or Cam Ward, just because I think if we stay put at number 3, you know how it is. Every draft season, everyone's down on the quarterback until draft day, and then all of a sudden somebody's jumping up to leapfrog somebody to take a quarterback, and there's 3 or 4 quarterbacks flying off the board. So I think the Giants will have to maneuver one way or the other, whether it be through free agency, through trade, or through the actual draft.
Yo, let's cue up the Aaron Boone stuff.
A lot of teams are obviously, hungry as well for quarterbacks.
Thanks for the call, CJ. Yeah, I have a hard time imagining Joe Shane and Brian Dable drafting a quarterback, which they 100% will, whether it's first round, second round, late first round, early second round, whatever. I have a hard time imagining them drafting a quarterback in this class, losing, and then having a top 5 pick in next year's class to do it again. It won't be them. It'll be a new regime. It'll be a new GM, new head coach, and then they'll get to restart and pick whoever that quarterback might be. I know a lot of you Giants fans are out there dreaming of Archie Manning. Maybe. I don't see, like, they won't get multiple stabs at it. It is now or never for these guys. These guys should have been fired after this year. They have to draft a quarterback. They got to develop that quarterback, and they need to sign a quarterback in free agency or trade for one that has NFL experience so that this offense can move the ball and look like an NFL offense so that they have a chance to compete. 3 years ago, when they did steal games, it was based off of Wink Martindale's defense, some timely turnovers and stops, and really Saquon Barkley being a 30 carry a game guy that can give you time of possession, that can move the sticks for you, that can get you a 2-point conversion when you need it. They don't have that now. And Daniel Jones obviously was able to make enough throws and run the ball that year as well for them to steal games in the fourth quarter, close games in the fourth quarter, one-score games. That's what the NFL is. Look at the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs got to the Super Bowl this year, and before I was talking about them, having tough games against the Panthers and the Raiders, and like they found ways to win one-score games. If you have a quarterback and you have a decent offense, you can do that. The ball just might be in your hands with 2 minutes left where you're able to drive the length of the field, kick a field goal, and win. Time expires. The Giants aren't able to do that. They haven't been able to do that in recent time. Mike is in Schenectady. Schenectady. Yes, that's what it says on the screen. Where is that?
Yes, sir. So that's about 10 minutes west of Albany.
10 minutes west of Albany. I've never been.
It's a fun town. You should come check it out.
I feel like I've heard
Saturday before the Super Bowl, we'll talk to Sean a little bit.
I feel like I've heard of the name of the town before, but I've never been. What you got, Mike?
What I was gonna say was tying in. I couldn't agree more with you on what you just got done saying as far as Dable and Shane being given multiple stabs at a new quarterback. I think there's probably been some sort of conversation between Mara and Shane and Dable, some combination of the three of them, where if he's out there telling the press that he's only got patience for about one more year, there's no way that he wants them to draft a quarterback, because otherwise it's just a rinse and repeat of what happened with Daniel Jones' experiment, where, as much as you want to say about DJ's potential when he got drafted, he went too high at 6. There were groans and moans in the draft room when it happened. Clearly it didn't pan out, but we also didn't give him an offensive line to protect him whatsoever. He was getting sacked just as much as he was fumbling in the beginning, and he had to deal with multiple head coaches. He had to deal with multiple offensive schemes, and it's not the ideal situation for a rookie quarterback. So to literally give Dable and Shane the reins to pick a new quarterback at the 3rd overall pick in a 2-quarterback class sounds like, to me, if we want to give Dable and Shane another 3 or 4 years to actually develop a quarterback, maybe have them sit behind a bridge quarterback, great. But if we're not going to do that, then we got to pass on a quarterback right now. We got to start building pieces. I think Abdul Carter is a great choice for number 3. Otherwise, trade back and try to get best available offensive tackle. We need a defensive tackle. We need a corner, maybe a wide receiver in the 2nd round, 3rd round. Don't want to go too low on that. But, I think Justin Fields is a great choice for a bridge quarterback type of thing. That's basically
I agree with you 100% that if we give Dable and Shane the reins, then they're obviously going to draft a quarterback because that's got the best chance of saving their job.
Thanks for the call, Mike. Let's clear that up. I don't know if, the last couple of calls might have not heard me clearly. They're going to draft a quarterback. There's nothing left to do. This year, in the 2025 draft, they won't get a second shot at it in 2026. If they're picking in the top 10, that will be a new GM, new head coach, new regime picking their quarterback of their choosing. Like when the Cardinals drafted Josh Rosen and he was a bust, and then they followed up and Cliff Kingsbury and those guys drafted Kyler Murray like the year after, same year that Daniel Jones was overdrafted. I'm sure if you've listened to WFAN, you've heard countless hours of people talking about what Mike was just talking about. He never had an offensive line. He had different head coaches. He had different offensive coordinators. He was overdrafted out of Duke. He wasn't the level of quarterback. We made a ton of excuses for Daniel Jones. He was overdrafted at 6 overall. He shouldn't have been taken there. But Shane and Dable didn't do that. They inherited that. And I always fall back on when they came in, they did not want him. When they came in, They didn't pick up his rookie option because he was coming off an injury, whatever. They didn't want him. They did not want him. They brought in Tyrod Taylor to potentially challenge him, maybe even win the job. And he wins the job, and they go on, and Dable coaches his ass off. Wink Martindale coaches his ass off. They steal enough games to go and win a first-round playoff game. That was like the worst thing that could happen. It was fool's gold. And here we go with Joe Shane and his handy-dandy GM book for dummies. He starts flipping through pages. What do I do? What do I do? I value the quarterback. I got to value the quarterback. I didn't value him when I came in. I didn't pick up his rookie option. We went through our process of looking at the film and evaluating him, and we didn't think he was that good. But now, after he won a playoff game, after he led us to victory, he's more valuable than Saquon. We must pay him. Mistake. Should have told him test the free agent market. Should have told him and his agent the same thing you told Saquon. And here we are. Saquon is a Super Bowl champion. The Eagles just put out today the greatest single season rushing season of all time. I forget how they worded it. When I saw that, I'm like, of course they're going to run with that. I mean, I guess because it ended up he's, a Super Bowl champion. Greatest NFL rushing season of all time the Philadelphia Eagles put out. 2,000 yards. Could have went and got the record, but spared the Giants. And then went on to add on yards. And I don't know the final total. Maybe that's what they're talking about. Regular season and playoffs, the combined total, and being a Super Bowl champion. That blood is on your hands, Joe Shane. That blood is on your hands, Joe Shane. And where is Daniel Jones? Rumored to be potentially the next Jets quarterback. Ralph is in Middletown on the fan. Go for it, Ralph.
Hey, Keith, love the show. Second time calling. Just want to disagree with the previous caller on something. I'm a long-suffering Jets fan, unfortunately, but as I always say, I'm a football fan first. And him kind of poo-pooing the 86 Bears, let me tell you something. I'm an older guy. I don't know how nostalgic you are with football, but that was one of the two best defenses that ever existed. Buddy Ryan was the D coordinator, was an impenetrable wall. So every single guy that went to the Hall of Fame on that defense, even though it was 1 year, was well deserved.
How much time till the next break?
The best defense I've ever seen was the 2000 Ravens, and I would probably give the edge to the 86 Bears. It was just, it was a defensive gem. So I don't know what that call was talking about.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of comparing and reaching going on when we get to the Hall of Fame. And what he was saying is, how come that one team has so many guys? And what you just said was why they have so many guys. They're deserving, and you can't really use that as a reason for, like Eli being snubbed. Eli was snubbed first round because people don't feel like he should be in that upper echelon of first ballot Hall of Famers, and he's not.
Got it.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. I want to break right here because I do want to bring in some Yankee conversation. I have a couple Yankees calls, I think, from when I was talking about pitchers and catchers reporting and reporters asking our pitchers about facing Juan Soto. Newsflash, you don't have to ask any of the Yankees pitchers about facing Juan Soto until like mid-May. But Juan Soto's name will hover over these New York Yankees the entire season. And when I was on last night, I cautioned Yankee fans to just come in and take this season as it is. It's a new team. And there are a lot of good additions to this team, but it's a new team. It might not happen right away. And guys that we're banking on, turning back the clock and being, Goldschmidt being 2022 Goldschmidt, that's not a guarantee. Cody Bellinger being 2019 Cody Bellinger, not a guarantee. Even young guys, Jason Dominguez being an everyday player, playing left field, leading off for the Yankees, not guaranteed, might not materialize. Even guys like Volpe and Wells taking a step forward. I love Volpe's game. He came around in the World Series, but there were times in the season last year where Volpe was one of the worst hitters on the team. It can't happen for a guy playing every day. Wells now, Wells has to be the everyday catcher. We were banging the table last year. Enough with Trevino. Wells should be in the lineup every day. Is he ready for that? I hope so. but there's much to be seen with this Yankees team. I caution the Yankees universe for just, the assumption that we're going right back to the World Series because the American League is weak. That is on paper. That is leaning back on last year. It's not a guarantee. Somebody else will emerge. Somebody that you're forgetting about, maybe the Texas Rangers, maybe the Houston Astros will emerge. Somebody out of the Central. We laugh at the Central, but there can be a combination of the Minnesota Twins, the Detroit Tigers, the Kansas City Royals, those three teams that could be competitive in our own division. I expect the Red Sox to be better. I know Tampa will figure something out. You can't count out these Baltimore Orioles and the talent they have in their farm and the talent that they have at this level. So, here we go, embarking on another baseball season. The Yankees and Mets are down there. Pitchers and catchers have reported. We'll take a break here. When we come back, I'll play some audio from Aaron Boone, and we'll start taking your baseball calls. But if you still want to chime in on Eli Manning or who the Jets should go to at quarterback, we can do that as well. This is Keith McPherson on The Fan. KM to AM returns right after this. All right, Joe. Trying to get this stupid light out of the way. See that light streak? These like studio lights in here. See that?
That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T.
Just trying to not have the streak on my face. There we go. Let's go back to the top. Pam says, "What up, Keith? What up, Pam? Appreciate you. Yo, my guy. What's good? Keith, with the Giants have a good season this season coming up. Will they? No. Peter said, caught the GOAT live. Appreciate you, fam. Keith, if you are the Jets, what the hell is your focus this offseason? Right now, it's who's going to play quarterback. That's the big news, right? The big news of Aaron Rodgers' departure. Who's going to play quarterback for them? You can't bank on Tyrod. He's older. He's injury prone. Doesn't really excite the fan base. They got to get another quarterback in there to compete with Tyrod Taylor. Is Caleb Williams a good QB for the Bears? Yeah, and he's going to be even better with Ben Johnson. Coach Latrella says, his sacks and mobility don't scare you at all. You're talking about Sanders? Minus 50 all season. Dable likes to run his QB. Live so much better. Love it. I'm assuming you're talking about Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, of course, yo. His sacks worry me because he didn't have an offensive line at Colorado. He's probably not going to have a good offensive line with the Giants unless they really revamp that offensive line. Their offensive line is never good. They added John Runyon. They added Jermaine Illuminor. They added Greg Van Roten. They miss on so many draft picks. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Let's see. I got a bunch of text messages I'll get to in a second. Let's see. Shout out to Dan Duggan and Zach Rosenblatt for coming on.
So which cuts do you want? I have a bunch.
So I think Boone talking about the Dodgers.
Yeah, I got
Is there the cut with Jake Cousins, him saying that Jake Cousins is hurt? Jake Cousins is the only person that we know that has some type of thing where.
Yeah, I think he talked about the bullpen. I don't know if it's I think maybe Cousins is in it, but
anything about third base,
I have that.
anything about the leadoff hitter, anything about Dominguez or the new guys, and you can talk on the mic. You can just cue them up, say, yo, this one is Boone talking about this, and we'll play them. And then people will hear and they'll call, and I'll react to them. I'll take Bobby and Belmore's call, and then we'll start getting into the Yankee conversation. I'll send a couple cuts from Mendoza as well on the Mets 6-man rotation, and we'll start doing the conversation around, Kodai Senga saying they got to build the dome. Thanks, man. That's my producer, Alex, just kind of chatting before we get back. Keith, love the content. Thanks for live streaming. Appreciate it. I got to, man. I honestly got to, man. Everybody else has a live component. Everybody else has a live video component, rather. Obviously, it's radio, so it's always streaming live. But Boomer and Gio, you can watch on CBS Network on TV. BT and Sal, you can watch on Twitch. Evan and Tiki, you can watch on SNY. Me, you can watch on my Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, all 5 streaming live. So appreciate y'all for watching. I know everybody doesn't listen to the radio. I know that the radio is archaic. It's old. I'm proud and happy and thankful to be a radio host, but I'm a child of the internet. I know that, like, if you're sitting somewhere right now on your MacBook, your iPad, or your phone and you're stationary, you rather hear and see. You rather listen to me talk sports and physically see me. I'm not the best looking guy, but I could entertain a little bit. Glad we picked up another lefty in the pen. Yes, I am going to talk about this TJ Matzik guy, aka Nutsack. Oh, there's my commercial.
You can get in on all of the action from tip-off to the final whistle at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Right now, new ESPN Bet Sportsbook customers can
you hear that? That's another thing too. I'm working on the audio. I gotta get a little mixer that I can feed the audio out of one of these headphone jacks into here, so that I don't have to hit the mic off, so that you're not hearing the monitor with the calls. But I know it works decent enough. People can hear the calls. Red Sox picked up a lot of good pitching too. That's what I'm saying. Garrett Crochet, Walker Buehler. I mean, I don't know their whole roster, but they have enough guys that can hit. Jarren Duran. They added Aroldis Chapman. Obviously, Rafael Devers. I think they're going to be better. Brian Bayo, decent last year. Cutter Crawford, decent last year. Lucas Giolito, Tanner Houck. They have the pitching, so I wouldn't count them out. I wouldn't count the Red Sox out. AD, Luka, the worst trade in the NBA in past years. Yeah. Nothing else to say about it. Jim Bean. Yo, Keith, you think signing Stafford or Rodgers for a year or two and drafting Shador Ward first is the way to go for the Giants? I don't think they'll be able to do both. Stafford is a trade. I don't think Stafford or Rodgers will have interest in playing for the Giants, one of the worst teams in the league with no offensive line and playing in the cold. I just don't think they'll be able to get one of those greats, one of those guys with Super Bowl rings, and draft. I don't know if they'll be able to draft Shador Sanders, Cam Ward. Let's talk Yankees, Vinny. We're about to. You are good looking, Keith. That's what my mom say. Nah, you good looking. Hey, y'all gassing me. It's me. Who else? Keith McPherson on the Fan, KM to AM. Let's get this conversation started around spring training down there in Tampa. Aaron Boone had his press conference at 1:00 today. Alex, go and take us through some of the cuts that we have. Like I said, there's not really anything new that you haven't heard, but maybe you missed it earlier today. Maybe you were at work. Maybe you didn't hear it. Let's hear from Yankees manager Aaron Boone, who will get an extension soon. He did speak on that as well. Go for it, Alex.
First one about the Dodgers and how they reacted after the World Series.
You know, you didn't hear that from the Freemans and Betts and the Tommies and Kershaws and whatever of the world. So, look, sometimes, you know, you're coming off the drunkenness of winning a world championship, and, you know, some guys are more inclined to spout off and be a little more colorful than others. And again, that's their right. They won. And again, hopefully we're in that position and do things a little better.
BT and Sal had it first right here on WFAN, The Fan in New York. They asked about it. And, you know, I think to sum it up, Boone is saying, I don't understand why bench players are talking like starters. I don't understand why guys that did not make an impact had the most to say. Why are you running your mouth? So it's just in the past, man. I just want to get over losing the World Series to the Dodgers, losing Juan Soto to free agency. But we can't. I remember having a take about how the world loves to drink Yankees tears, Yankee universe tears, Yankee fan tears. They can't get enough. Let's play the next one.
Control who's going to lead off for the Yankees.
I don't know. So we'll see. I really don't. I mean, you could throw out 6 or 7 names, and I can see that. So that's where I'm at right now on it. It could end up being a shared thing where, verse left, verse right situation. Hopefully it kind of smacks us over the head, like, and becomes very clear at some point. But I really don't have someone in mind necessarily as, that's who it's going to be.
That's fine by me. I talk about competition, and we'll talk about the competition at third base. But I talk about how there needs to be competition in camp. These guys are alphas. They're pros. Iron sharpens iron. They need to go into spring training competing for it. And I recently heard an interview with Jazz Chisholm where he wants to be hitting in the same place in the lineup. I think he is competing to be the leadoff hitter. You may not like the idea, obviously, with his pitch selection and some of the pitches he swings at, whatever. He's got speed. He's got experience doing it. And honestly, last year, I thought when they traded for him that they were going to make him the leadoff hitter. I thought that that's what, one of the boxes that he was going to check off. Do we have the next one about third base? We have the next one about the competition at third base? Play a little bit of it. We know who's competing.
It's a great opportunity for somebody to grab it. DJ's healthy, which has really been the issue for him over the last couple of years. He's had those things that have popped up that have really, zapped, his greatness. And I'm not going to put anything past a healthy DJ LeMahieu and his ability to hit. So hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully he's one of those guys that kind of kicks the door in and grabs it and runs with it. We certainly know what he's capable of, coupled with, being outstanding defensively. Oswaldo Cabrera is going to get opportunity to really kind of kick that door in, if you will. Peraza, Vivas, all those guys that you're looking for somebody to kind of step up and grab it, or if it becomes a shared position, that's possible too. So those are, some of the exciting questions that are in front of us, and hopefully we get answers to that.
All right. Good enough for me. Good enough for me. I know Yankee fans are all panicking hearing, DJ's good. He's healthy. They're like, no, why? Why do we got to do this again? He's under contract. He's a veteran. He's got relationships on the team. People love him. And, it's simple as that, man. Like, it's as simple as that as far as DJ LeMahieu getting the opportunity to compete at third base. Another report that came out today, Andy Martino put out there late today that, the Yankees were never in on a trade for Nolan Arenado. And it kind of made me remember something that I forget every single year. Yankees for clicks. And like, the Yankees name will be in the mix with any team, any player to drive up conversation, to drive up price, to drive up speculation. So yeah, Martino said the Yankees considered signing Alex Bregman, but ended up allocating the money towards players like Max Fried, Cody Bellinger, and Devin Williams. They never seriously considered a trade for Nolan Arenado. And my joke on Twitter was, we got McDonald's at home. McDonald's isn't great food, but kids always want it. I want McDonald's. I want McDonald's. I want McDonald's. And then your parents say, we got McDonald's at home. You go home, they throw in some tater tots in the air fryer. They get some Wonder Bread. They got a Bubba Burger. They'll put that on there with some shredded cheese and throw some ketchup on it and say, here you go. This is McDonald's. Make believe. That's what we're doing with DJ and Oswaldo and Peraza. Bobby's in Belmore. What's up, man? You're on.
Hi. Before I get to the baseball, Archie Manning 2.0 has had to have no power over Miles Garrett. And the Tennessee is going to draft a quarterback. So I asked you, I couldn't hear your response. I wanted to draft Hunter, and I mentioned Will Howard in the second round, but I didn't hear your response. I know you responded. I just want to know what you think of that before I get to the baseball.
Yes, on the same lines of star power and bringing a guy in here that is already a ready-made star into New York, Travis Hunter, if you miss out on a Shedeur Sanders, or even if you don't want to draft Shedeur Sanders, you can't go wrong with a Heisman Trophy winner that plays two positions that you can figure out, where you want him to play. And he's a football guy. I joked about how he's a nerd and how he doesn't drink, he doesn't party, he doesn't go out, he streams and he plays video games. he lets his girl go out and he'll go pick her up from the party. So that's a perfect guy you bring to New York. He'll get him a nice little place somewhere in Jersey, and you never got to worry about him, pulling a Plaxico Burress.
What about Will Howard, second round?
I mean, yeah. Will Howard, I just I don't look at him as I don't want to say he's bad, but I don't even look at him as a second round quarterback. He might be a second round quarterback. I'm trying to see where they're grading him now. Obviously, he's a national champion, should be turned it on there. But there's some more talented players, and I just think for this Giants franchise, they're not going to go in the direction of a Will Howard, not in the second round. If he's hanging around and they still haven't picked a quarterback in the third or fourth, maybe.
Yeah, TJ LeMay, is his job to lose because he has all $30 million. That's why the Yankees aren't running up any other third baseman, Bregman or Arnaldo. They want to win the job. He does it, and then they have a $301 million payroll. He just want to spend money on a third baseman. You're saying they owe TJ LeMay $30 million for the next 2 years. Now, let me get to the possessions that they got during the free agency. Bellinger, Williams, and I can't think of the other guy. I can't believe it. Williams and Fried have not exactly produced well in the playoffs. I mean, Fried just pitched that great 2021 World Series game just when he was on Atlanta. But ever since then, he's been getting bombed. I mean, he was like a 5 ERA. He got bombed last year in the playoffs. So last time I saw Williams pitch, Alonso took him deep. And Bellinger hit 211. He was awful off the Dodgers in the postseason. I remember that. So he was really good too. But he was. So in addition to Judge not getting a postseason, I mean, I think they're a favorite to get back to the World Series because Baltimore is weaker. They lost their best power hitter and their best pitcher, and the Astros lost the top 5 player. So I think the Yankees, because elimination of the other team, they're not favorite to get to the World Series. But there's no shooing that they're going to win the World Series, even with their updates.
Thanks for the call, Bobby. Yeah, you know what? It's easy to look at Max Fried and say he's injury prone. He got rocked. He's better than Carlos Rodon, and he was arguably the top free agent pitcher on the market, and he was their planned pivot, their plan B. Shout out to C-Mac. Plan B sucks. Yeah, initially when they said that they were giving Max Fried 8 years, I'm like, man, what? 8 years? But then I thought about it. I sat with it. I'm like, well, if you were about to double that and give Juan Soto 16 years, for $760 million, somewhere I thought Hal Steinbrenner was never going to go. All right, give us the best pitcher on the market, a left-handed ace, to go with Garrett Cole, because when we do get into the postseason, you need somebody better than Rodon in those games. And to roll out Garrett Cole game 1, Max Fried game 2, guys that can give you length if they let them, guys that can go deeper into the game if they allow them to. Garrett Cole in the World Series, game 1, 88 pitches. That makes no sense. This is a guy we've seen throw 130 pitches in a game. He missed half the season. There was no tomorrow. You let him go until he can't go. Max Fried is another guy. He can pitch a whole game. And, I mean, the Yankees bullpen is stacked, right? You can cherry pick Devin Williams and his postseason struggles. Yankee Stadium is not Miller Park or American Family Field or whatever the hell they call it in Wisconsin now. If you've been out there, you know what I'm talking about. It's a cool little, college football type of tailgate vibe. It is not Yankee Stadium. I just talked to Devin Williams. Go to my Instagram, Twitter. Shout out to, Luna and everybody at the Pinstripe Pride event. I told Devin Williams, bro, I'm like, man, pick out the song that you want to enter to, your entrance song that's going to rock the Bronx. And I'm telling you, you're going to feed off the energy of these fans. That 2-strike whale, that PC Richardson. This is a guy that I think has an opportunity to come in here and close games for the Yankees that Yankee fans are going to love. And that brings me to something I wanted to talk about tonight. I know it'll never change. I know that they'll never change it. But Devin Williams, he's a beard guy. He's beard gang. I think he's had his beard for 6-7 years. 2025 makes it 7 years. I saw him entering the facility today, and he hadn't shaved. Not everybody is Alex Verdugo, who shaved 3 months before he came to camp because he felt like he had to get used to it. And I had a thought today. I'm like, who enforces the shaving policy? Is it someone from the equipment staff, or management, like Cashman's not coming down to say, hey, shave. Hal Steinbrenner's not. Is it Booney? Is it the manager? Does Aaron Boone say, hey, Devin, come to my office, man? Here you go. Here's the razor. Go get that done for me right now. Is it Judge? I'm like, you know how the Yankees could really shock the world? How the Yankees could really, zig when they're expected to zag? Drop the facial hair policy. I know they never will. And I even used it in Aaron Rodgers, in my take about Aaron Rodgers. It's a part of a team thing. Everybody's got to do it. It is code and conduct. It is required. And it's not just required of this team. It was required of every other championship Yankee team, and everybody in baseball knows it. But it's 2025. What will it take? Like, will it take Devin Williams saying, I'm walking in free agency, I don't want to come back and be your closer after he has X amount of saves this year and like dominates? Like, will the Yankees reconsider their facial hair policy? I just think the more that we get into the future where anything goes, where it's the wild, wild west, where things are happening that we never imagined happening, it does kind of feel like very old school and traditional to have grown men shaving their beards. And the last thing I'll say about it is it's a swag thing. It's an aura thing. Like, some of these guys need a beard. Like Drake needed a beard. Like, to shave your beard can zap a guy. And you want that guy to be at the height of his powers. I know they'll never change it. It's a George thing. Rest in peace to the boss. They'll never change it. But as I saw Devin Williams say, I'm like, he's reporting he's still got that beard. He is dreading it. And I just don't want to have that like psyche with players. It's kind of like, and I get it. They want to break the psyche because they want guys to fall in line. I mean, fall in the line. There's other ways to fall in line. You don't have your name on the back of your jersey. You can only wear one gold chain. I feel like at some point, like, how about, even like I have long hair. People that are watching me on the stream. It's funny. I was at the Pinstripe Pride event. Someone's like, are you Devin Williams? I'm like, come on, bro. There's only one thing that Devin Williams and I have in common, and I'm like 2 or 3 shades darker than the brother. I can't have these long dreads. I can't have these long locks and be a Yankee. It's one thing to make these guys cut their hair short. It's another thing with the facial hair. I don't know, man. It is. Yeah, people have turned me into like, hey, maybe they should change that. It is kind of getting to the point where it's like, you're not even the Yankees of old. Like, the Yankees of old that did win championships, it was kind of like, hey, I got to fall in line with Jeter and these guys, and Don Mattingly and these guys, Mickey Mantle and these. Like, now it's just like, man, we're zapping these dudes, and their whole thing is like, you gotta look the part. You look good, you play good. You play good, you are good. You play good, they pay good. Like, I don't know. 888-808-1019. Back to the phone we go before we get to Yankee calls and everything else. We were talking about Eli Manning. Thanks for holding, Mike. You got it.
How you doing, Keith?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Love your show, and you've been a great addition to FAN. I wanted to rehash something from the other night, the Eli Manning Hall of Fame worthy discussion. And I've heard people make many arguments on both sides. I want to give you my opinion. I kind of compare Eli as the football version of Bernie Williams. Bernie, are you there?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, Bernie Williams is a great player, all-star multiple times, won 4 championships, but Bernie Williams was never not close to superstar, not even a star. Just a real fine player and very important to the team. I see Eli, as much as he's done, Eli was not a really, I would say, he didn't scare teams, led the league in picks 3 different years, and never had really big numbers in this age where quarterbacks throw quite a bit. Even when he played, quarterbacks were throwing 35, 40 passes. So I think Eli, people are giving him the extra love because of the 2 Super Bowls. And it's not like he played great. He just happened to make 2 big passes, and you guys are putting all of his resume into those 2 passes. Eli was just, he was okay, but I never considered Eli a superstar, not at all, and one bit, never in his career. Never.
Understood. Thanks for the call and the compliment, Mike, and the comparison. I'll say this is the parallel, echoing what you said. Like, Bernie was clutch in the moments you needed him to be clutch, came through in the clutch. So did Eli. But then on the converse, their career statistics, when you put them side by side to their contemporaries, they don't match up, and that's enough for people to knock them down and say they don't belong. In our eyes, we remember the moments. In our eyes, they shine for us because we had a rooting interest. We forget. People hated the Yankees. People hated the Giants. People hate New York. So it didn't have the same weight elsewhere. 888-808-1019. I mean, Bernie's end of career, and I love Bernie. Bernie's a man. Shout out to Forge. I always shout both of them out. One of the greatest things for me as a Yankee fan, getting on the fan, is to learn that Bernie Williams was listening to my show and following me, and then getting to meet him and his manager in real life, and they rock with me and they include me in everything and invite me that. That is something that little Keith, that dressed up as Bernie Williams for Halloween, that blows my mind. I could cry tears of joy over that. Bernie's not in the Hall. Bernie isn't considered part of the core four, but he's respected. He's got a ton of love. I see it all the time at his charity events, autograph signings. The way people ride for Bernie Williams, they might not ride for him elsewhere. I know I went to Seattle for the All-Star game, and I was wearing my Bernie Williams jersey, and one of these Seattle Pacific Northwesterns was like, "Is that a Bernie Williams jersey? I never see those out here." I'm like, I don't know why. I don't know why. 888-808-1019. Charlie in Queens, my guy, you're back.
How you doing, Keith?
Good, thanks for calling.
Quick on Bernie, because you brought him up. One, I have his jersey, and my nephew has his jersey, but I bring out my Munson jersey when he wears his Bernie when we go to the game.
Munson also not in the Hall of Fame. Yep, go on.
Yeah, I'm personally, just real quick on Munson, he deserves a Hall of Fame. If you put him up against his two contemporaries, Finch and Fisk, the one they always push him, he's pretty equal to them. Maybe not home runs and stuff, but he ran that team. Today, he made the calls. He made pitch selection. He called the defense. A lot of things people forget.
No, I know it. Shout out to Thurman Munson Group. I had the honor of hosting the dinner that we honored Thurman Munson and got to meet Diana Munson. And I've been connected to those good people. Shout out to Kenny and Andrew and everybody. Yeah, trust me, I know. And, I think the Errors Committee would have to get Thurman Munson in there. But as more time goes on and more names get added, Joe Mauer is in the Hall of Fame.
Now really go quick about the Super Bowl and all of that, I saw the Lamar thing, and then I heard what happened in a way, so I understood why it wasn't as
Lamar Jackson?
big. The Lamar halftime show.
Oh, Kendrick Lamar. I'm like Lamar Jackson didn't even show up to NFL honors because he got snubbed of the MVP. Kendrick Lamar, gotcha.
I heard he was told to water down his act quite a bit. Either way, but
he didn't.
When you're an artist and you're told to, pull back the reins a little, it is frustrating. You can't give your best performance when you're being told how to perform.
Yeah, I talked about it last night. I think he played into that whole thing. That's what Samuel L. Jackson was there for. Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam and kind of directing things and kind of chiming in hey, do this. Okay, yeah, now that's the spirit. Now you got it. I think he leaned into that. But from what I know, Rock Nation and the NFL, they didn't tell him what to do. And honestly, he had hit records that I was on last night singing on the fan. And I'm like, how did he not do this song? How did he not do Mad City? How did he not do All Right? My favorite Kendrick Lamar song is called Michael Jordan. He never would do that. But he didn't play the hits because he didn't want to. He wanted to send a message on that stage. He wanted to use that platform, and he did. Thanks for the call, Charlie. 888-808-1019. I don't have time to get into it tonight, but if you go back in the Odyssey app and you listen to my Monday night show, or you go to the podcast, we talked at length about it. Kendrick Lamar was not going to compromise getting to that stage. He probably shouldn't have been on that stage at this juncture, at this point in time, but he did his thing, and he played it so well. Because the internet reaction in 2025 is much greater. There was no internet reaction in 93 when Michael Jackson did what he did. But Kendrick Lamar, knowing the time that we're in, that performance was for younger people. I don't know how many videos I've seen of little kids rapping the lyrics, jumping around, not just black kids, white kids, all nationalities. Those kids love Kendrick Lamar on TikTok. When they make a video, TikTok suggests use this Kendrick Lamar beat, Instagram Reels. How about you use this peekaboo, squabble up? You know what I'm saying? They love Kendrick Lamar. And then obviously hip hop fans like myself, I knew all of those songs except for that's another thing. He had some unreleased songs. Who's debuting music at the Super Bowl? Kendrick Lamar did not compromise on the biggest stage. He did not care if people liked or did not like what he did. Nobody gets unanimous love. His intent was to send a message. And now you have thousands of people making reaction videos dissecting what that message was, which will give this halftime show legs to be talked about literally for months and longer than any halftime show ever. All right, last hour coming up. It's open mic time. Whatever you guys want to talk about. 888-808-1019. Keep McPherson on the fan. BRB. All right, yo. What they talking about? Talking about nine. What they talking about? They talking about nine. What they talking about? They talking about nine. Peekaboo. I just put them boogers in my chain. Peekaboo. I understand, Dot. I've been understanding, Dot, but I don't have enough time on WFAN to break all that down. Feel me? Let's see where I was at before. Realistically, how many years before you think the Giants can be? Actually, let me send this email off before I get here. I wanted to get some Mets stuff. Let me send this lead off hitter. Lead off hitter. Yo, pinch hitting, huh?
Yeah, Libby Harris.
What what happened with Big Mac? He's sick?
He's been sick. Yeah.
I thought I heard a couple times and I think last night he was saying that the morning show guys were blaming him for people getting, and he said he's just trying to keep it together. You can hear it. It's like in his throat.
No, he's been sick for at least a week. His kids were sick before that. We've been commiserating.
Yeah, it's tough. My son has a stomach virus where he's been like overflowing his diapers at night, waking up, crying for milk. 2 days it took us to realize he's chugging the milk, he's puking it up, diarrhea. I'm like in the middle of the night putting him in the shower, rinsing him off, washing his. It's a nightmare. I mean, it's not a nightmare. I don't want to make it seem like, but you understand. It's like
how long?
Since Friday, this has been going on. That he's like waking up in the middle of the night, pooping in the middle of the night. It's overflowing his diaper, and he's hollering, and like it's compounded because the diarrhea sitting in his diaper gave him a rash on his, So I had to take him to the doctor, get ointment for that. Because the poop is overflowing, he ended up getting like a sty where his like eye is swollen. I'm like, this guy is fucked up. But like all he wants to do is play with his trucks and eat his snacks. And in the middle of the night, like 4 a.m, I'm hosing him down in the shower and he's screaming like I'm beating him. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, but it's, it's I guess a norovirus. Like it's a stomach virus that it has to go through. It's like 6-7 days. My wife just texted me. She's like, I don't feel good. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I'm going to come home tonight, like I spray everything, wipe everything down.
That one I've heard is bad. That one.
It sucks when you see your kid like that. I never saw him projectile vomit. And then like, I'm already paranoid when I come in at night. If he's like moving around, you know what it is. Like you got to change those diapers. You got to clean them up because like that leads to them just being irritated and infected. And it's just another problem after another problem. Sidebar, I have a almost 2-year-old kid. So when you don't see me, I am his whole dad. And like he needs me. I like have no choice. And I wouldn't want it any other way. But like, talk about not sleeping. Like I don't sleep really during the week. Then the weekend comes and like my Saturday night where I usually get sleep. No, I'm up at 4 a.m, hosing him down. I don't know. I probably did 8 loads of laundry this weekend. My couch is covered in sheets and towels. my carpet is folded up because like my son's been like puking and diarrheaing and like, yeah. So in my 2-bedroom apartment. So think about it before you have a kid. I got into like a little run last night where I was talking about like, I met my wife in college. My wife and I have been around each other for a decade and a half, 15 years. And, my parents are divorced and they never really got along. And I'm like, man, I can't imagine doing this with somebody that I didn't vibe with, that I didn't have life experience with, like, because it's hard. I couldn't imagine doing this with somebody that I just met or I wasn't in it for the right reasons with. Like, when you have a kid with somebody, you better have good communication. You better be on the same page because it'll try you. It'll try you. It tries your sleep. It tries your mental state. All right, let me write in the chat.
Good evening at 11 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti. Well, Karl Anthony Towns doing his best to put a subpar performance against the Celtics to bed from Saturday night. "40 points, 12 boards, 5 assists for Karl Anthony Towns. Knicks batter the Pacers 128-115. Kenny Albert call MSG. Josh Hart poured in 30 with 10 rebounds and 5 assists. Deuce McBride added 15 off the bench. Don't do the Pat McAfee show. You must come to all off-season activities. That's apparently some of the stipulations the Jets had for Aaron Rodgers before they told him they're headed in another direction. Unclear if Rodgers balked at what the Jets' starting point was or if the Jets were just gauging a reaction but had already made up their minds to move on. For the Mets, Carlos Mendoza not able to openly speak about Pete Alonso with his contract not official yet, but Mendoza found it difficult to contain his emotions. "31 degrees, some light snow falling in Central Park, and that's happening." I'm Marco Belletti.
All right, let's get it, man. Inside the 11 p.m. hour, the last hour I have tonight. Dial the number and you can get on. I got a full rack of calls. Let's go. Mario, Long Beach, my guy on the bat phone. You're in there.
What's going on, man?
Thanks.
By the way, how's your cat doing?
The cat is good, and the cat is just kind of navigating. I just was last night and even in my live chat telling people about my son has a norovirus. So it's been an interesting weekend and a few days in my house, and my cat is just kind of like navigating all the attention being on taking care of my son. And she's very needy. She needs her treats. She needs to be brushed. She needs to be pet, and like she specifically sleeps with me. So yeah, she's good, but she's just trying to figure out why she's second fiddle so much to my son these days. Yeah, I love my cat. It's crazy. I said to my wife, I'm like, I did not research to find this cat. I did not set this up. All I did was drive you. We picked up our cat at the I think the Vince Lombardi rest stop. Like randomly, that was the spot. Some people drove up from Alabama with a bunch of animals, and you just see us in the parking lot with other people taking these animals. And I love this cat now. And I remember thinking, I told my wife, like, you got to take care of the cat. I'm not doing anything. I do everything. The cat is in human years approaching 3 years old. I don't know how the cat years work. Yeah, I don't like to think of her as that old, but she's so different than she was as a kitten. She's bossy. I said, you got the game messed up. Like she thinks like I work for her. She thinks that like I live in her apartment. She thinks that, she got the game backwards for real. Oh yeah, we have my apartment is baby proof with gates and stuff, and she'll like meow at me to like open the gate, and I'm like, I know you can leap over this gate. When she needs to get to her area or whatever, she can just like vertical leap, just like get on her back feet and just jump over this gate. This gate is like 4 feet. It's like 3 or 4 feet tall.
on the Knick game tonight. I don't know if you had a chance to watch because I know you were on the air. Very good game. You know what's very interesting about this game too, which I'm a Knick fan. I know you're a Brooklyn fan, but you're very,
I had it on in here, and I got the box score in front of me. I saw Cat turned it on. The Knicks needed a win like this. Go on, tell us what you saw.
I don't know what I saw, which was great. Last year, if Brunson didn't score 30, they had no chance to win. He had an off game. He scored 8 points, and they beat a very good team that was the hottest team in the NBA on their home court, with Brunson scoring 8. That's a very, very good sign.
Yeah, being versatile, somebody else being able to take the torch, lead them in scoring, like Karl Anthony Towns, and then Josh Hart having 30, 10 rebounds. It's good to see the bench chip in as well. Tyler Kolek with 11, Landry Shamet hitting some shots, 15, Miles McBride hitting some shots, 9. That's what you need. I think they're learning from the losses they've taken to the elite teams, and they're figuring out what they have to do to beat, a team like the Pacers aren't elite, but they've been in the conversation. They're not a slouch.
What do you think now? It's very interesting in the Super Bowl, right? With Jalen Hurts, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, I don't know if he's top 10." Now all of a sudden he won the Super Bowl, and a lot of people said he played better than Mahomes in both Super Bowls, even though he lost the first. Now is he in the top 10? Is he in the top 5? Is he? Can you think of him maybe with Lamar? But because he won a title, Lamar didn't. Where would you place him in the top 10? Thanks for taking my call, buddy.
Thanks for the call, Mario. Yeah, I did a little bit of this last night as well. And, the first guy that I went after was Brock Purdy, and how quickly we made Mr. Irrelevant a top 10 quarterback in the NFL just for getting to a Super Bowl, right? And he's going to get paid. But, who would you rather have, Jalen Hurts or Brock Purdy? It's no question. And then when we just look at this year's playoff run and some of these quarterbacks that get thrown around in the top 10, the number one stat is winning. That's what I was just knocking Aaron Rodgers for, because people want to throw out how many touchdowns and yards he put together. Yeah, but how many games did he win? Jalen Hurts wins games, whether it's Saquon running the ball, whether he's throwing the ball to A.J. Brown, or he's throwing the ball to Devontae Smith, his tight ends, or whether he's tucking it and running it himself. He's a winner. He's a leader of men. He's one of 53, and now that he has a Super Bowl and 2 appearances and playing, again, everything comes right back to stuff that we've talked about. Eli Manning playing his best game in the brightest moment, getting it done when it's the hardest to do it. Jalen Hurts showed up both Super Bowls. Now he's a champion. I think you got to talk about him in the conversation with the top 5 quarterbacks. If we put Justin Herbert up there, who in round 1 folded and threw 4 interceptions, why can't Hurts take his spot? People are so quick to throw Jordan Love in there. What has Jordan Love done? Nah, not above Jalen Hurts. Even Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott had an MVP-like season in the regular season last year. And I gotta send this. I sent you some audio from Carlos Mendoza, Alex. I gotta find this audio from Dak Prescott today. Another reason why I'm not rocking with the Cowboys. They just are. The big D is for big, delusional dumbasses. These guys do not get it. We'll queue up the Mendoza stuff, and I'm gonna send you what Dak Prescott had to say today. It's just so tone deaf, and just I don't know what type of world they live in. Jerry Jones must literally have a Jerry Jones Kool-Aid that they all drink. Anyway, man, take Dak Prescott out of there. He hasn't done anything in the playoffs. This guy is 26 with a Super Bowl MVP, 2 appearances. And hey, news flash, everybody. The Eagles are not going anywhere. This might just be the beginning of their run. Why can't they go back-to-back? Why can't they start some kind of dynasty with the quarterback, running back, receivers they have? Oh, let me actually backtrack that. With the offensive and defensive line they have. The reason why we don't want to give Jalen Hurts his credit is because he's got all the pieces around him. He's got a ridiculous offensive line and a bunch of weapons around him. But you know what? He gets it done. 888-808-1019. I know we're going to put Josh Allen up there. Lamar should have been MVP, but they had to give Josh Allen the Embiid MVP. Like Jokic won back-to-back MVPs. Can't give him a third. Let's give it to Embiid. They did that for Josh Allen. I know that you're going to look at the top quarterbacks. Mahomes is number 1. And I just did this. I have a video that I collab posted with my guy Taylor Ringgold that we shot in the Fanatics office that has aged terribly. Before the playoffs started, I discredited Jalen Hurts. I'm like, I don't even know how good this guy is. You know, listening to talking heads and media and his own teammates. A.J. Brown was upset with him. You know, everybody's going to put Mahomes as number one. Mahomes was the GOAT before he played terrible. Now he's not the GOAT. He's still up there. Mahomes number one. And then somewhere you're going to put Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. C.J. Stroud took a step back this year as well. Who else you got? Why isn't Jalen Hurts there at 5? If it's Mahomes, if it's Lamar, if it's Burrow, if it's Josh Allen, some kind of, you know, those 2, 3, and 4, give me Hurts at 5. Then I think he's got to be in the top 5 now. Who am I leaving out? You can miss me with Dak Prescott. You can miss me with Brock Purdy. Miss me with C.J. Stroud. Miss me with Justin Herbert. Yeah, you have to put respect on that man's name now. Josh is in Newburgh. What's up, Josh? You're on the fan.
Yeah, hi. Keith, first time caller here.
Awesome. Welcome in.
I want to know why Mahomes wasn't top 5 for the NFL MVP.
Why wasn't Mahomes top 5 MVP?
Good player. Good player.
He had a down year this year.
Same numbers as Aaron Rodgers. Who wants him on the team? Is the first QB you're picking is Patrick Mahomes.
Wait. So, okay. He threw more interceptions this year than his regular year. They struggled this year to score more than 30 points. This was not a very Patrick Mahomes dominant year. Like Andy Reid, Spagnuolo, the Chiefs defense.
Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes.
Correct. I just went through my list. Mahomes, in theory, with his Super Bowl appearances and rings, is the GOAT, the best quarterback right now. But he didn't deserve to win the MVP this year.
It goes by the most valuable, and this is who you want. By the same thing by an offensive MVP. It goes by how well you play. And
Offensive Player of the Year, Saquon won that. And I mean, honestly, if they're going to give Josh Allen MVP, then give Lamar Jackson Offensive Player of the Year. Mahomes had a down year. Thanks for the call, Josh, but that just sounds ridiculous after the game that Mahomes just played in the Super Bowl. He was terrible. I was concerned. For this guy to be the GOAT, greatest of all time, better than Brady, best quarterback we've ever seen. Nobody is. He was terrible. He was shook. And I think it's because he got his head rocked early. But so what? That's football. Throw the ball away. Protect yourself. Don't get into those situations where you can have a shoestring tackle where you slam your head on the ground and you almost throw a pick 6. All respect for Patrick Mahomes. He's not the MVP this year. Lamar should have had 3 MVPs. He should have been the MVP this year. I'm not against Josh Allen, and I'm not against the cases for Josh Allen, especially when you look at the roster, him literally putting the team on his back, how he had to run the ball, throw the ball, yada, yada, yada. I get it. I mean, and there was a point on the radio where I was saying Josh Allen MVP after he beat Mahomes. I'm like, that goes into his highlight clip for MVP. And he continued on. But then when you put the side by side together of the season that Lamar Jackson had statistically, much better than Josh Allen. So how is Lamar Jackson all-pro, the first string all-pro quarterback, but Josh Allen is the MVP? It's subjective again. It's voting. And like people are trying to like save face. Oh, well, we made Lamar the first string all-pro quarterback, but Josh Allen was the most valuable player. Right? I heard Dan Orlovsky talking about he was more valuable to his team. Are we talking about who's most valuable to their team or most valuable in the league? What Lamar Jackson did statistically was the most valuable player in the league. If not him, then Saquon. But it's a quarterback award. They're not giving it to Saquon. So he gets Offensive Player of the Year. 888-808-1019. Jalen Hurts will never win MVP in the regular season. They're never going to have the offense like that for him to win it. And he doesn't have the skill set. So what? He's a leader. He's a quarterback. He distributes the pill. And you know what the best quality he has is? He's stoic. He's the same when things are good or bad. On the field, in the media, he doesn't show you any emotion. They win the Super Bowl. The guy barely could crack a smile. Peter is in Manhattan on the fan. What's up, Peter?
How you doing, Keith? How's your son? Good?
Good, good. He's getting over a norovirus, but we're now 4 or 5 days through it, so we're on the other end.
Right. Great, Keith, before I get to my main point, just quickly, somebody talked about Thurman Munson. Munson was better than Fisk. And then I'm going to give you two other catches, the Yankees chip in, Posada, and then they had Alton Howard. So these are additional players that should be in the Hall of Fame. But Keith, just going back, somebody called before about the best defenses. So the issue I have with that, they have the 85 Bears, and you have the 2000 Ravens. But I'm going to give you three other names that were probably equally as good and even better. And the problem I have with those two teams, they only made one Super Bowl. So I'm going to take you back to the no-name defense of the Dolphins. 3 Super Bowls, 2 wins. Then I'm going to take you to the doomsday defense, Dallas Cowboys. 5 Super Bowls in the 70s, 2 wins. And then probably the best defensive team ever was the Steel Curtains of the 70s, 4 Super Bowl wins. And practically everybody in that team is on the Super Bowl. And then you had Joe Green and Lambert. So that's my point. And Keith, if I can make one other point with Eli Manning, I think the most compelling case you can make from being in the Hall of Fame is he didn't have any single play in the offensive, whether it be the offensive line, running back, or receiving, that are Hall of Famers. Every other player, every other Hall of Fame had Hall of Fames. He had nobody. Keith, you be well, and great talking to you. I love your show. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Peter. Little history lesson. I've heard of all of those teams and defenses. Obviously wasn't alive to see them play, and I'm not the type that goes back and watches old games. Like, there's enough live games on, and I like all the sports, so I always have something live. Yo, you know what's interesting? I didn't know if I would even care for this, but Unrivaled, the women's one-on-one tournament that they got going on, I'm starting to see clips on social media. I'm like, I like this. And why is the NBA not doing it? I mean, leave the lady something, but just a little. I was watching Skylar Diggins, and I was watching somebody else go at it. I'm like, this is interesting. 888-808-1019. I did want to bring in some audio from Carlos Mendoza. Do you have the audio ready? Can we play a couple of those clips? I have a ton of calls. I don't know if I'm even going to have the time to do it because we've started down this road of, the Super Bowl and Jalen Hurts and MVP and top 5 quarterbacks. And I think I'll leave it for Gallo. Gallo's filling in for C-Mac tonight. He's coming up at 12. He's wearing his Mets uniform right now. His Mets, I look like he had like a team issue like sweater or something. So Gallo's coming up. Maybe I'll leave the Mendoza quotes and the 6-man rotation conversation and Kodai Senga saying they need to make a dome and I don't know, stuff about Jet Williams and Brett Beatty for the overnight show. Jay is in Jersey on the Fan. Go for it, Jay. Cue up that Dak Prescott audio I sent you.
First time caller.
Nice. We're getting a lot of first timers in. That means it's working. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Let me just say, just so I can kind of get this off my chest. I hate the Philadelphia Eagles. What? I hate their uniform. I hate their Kelly green. I hate their midnight green. I hate their fans. Everything about them. Besides my cousin who's an Eagles fan, he's awesome until he starts talking English. But the Giants. So in the draft, if they draft Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, whether they're trading up to 1 or drafting the quarterback at 3, I just don't think that they'll be able to,
Yeah, you don't expect them to succeed right away. It seems far-fetched for them to come in and be Jaden Daniels or even be Bo Nix or be Caleb Williams.
Yeah, because they don't have an offensive line. It's worse than the Chiefs. Like, what happens if the Giants play the Eagles?
They will, twice.
Yeah.
And that's why I was talking about John Michael Schmidt going up against Jalen Carter. I'm like, they need another center because Jalen Carter bullied him. He's going to continue. Like, they're not going anywhere. They're only going to get better. They're only going to get stronger, man. The Eagles are not going anywhere. They draft well. They trade well. They'll bring in free agents. Even when they make mistakes, they like Bryce Huff, don't matter. Super Bowl. Like, they're not going anywhere. Thanks for making your first call, Jay. Appreciate it. And I hate the Eagles too. That's why I said I was depressed watching that game. It was over at half. And they didn't want to admit it because they don't want you to tune out. But I'm like, man, this sucks. And, of course, I bet on Mahomes because what does everybody say? Don't bet against the Chiefs. Didn't you learn your lesson? And I did. Don't bet against the Chiefs and Mahomes. That would have been the day. I bet you there's a bunch of happy Eagles fans that loaded up. I saw some Eagle fan from Delaware. He put his life savings on the Eagles. He put $250,000 on the Eagles money line. Had a great night. Danny is in Bucks County, Pennsylvania on the fan. Go for it, Danny.
Hey, man. Nice to talk to you. I am an Eagles fan, but I have to say I think they were fortunate to win this Super Bowl because the unfortunate.
You got that Dak cut? It's just I replied to it. We'll play it after this.
The Lions with those major injuries, they had like over 15 starters out at one point. I do believe a fully healthy Detroit Lions team would have beaten the Eagles in Ford Field in the NFC Championship.
Thanks for the call, Danny. They lost to the Commanders. So, like, they didn't even get that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were the number 1 seed. Jaden Daniels and them boys went and knocked them off. And we can make excuses about injuries, but everybody's hurt. Everybody has injuries. Everybody loses players. It's part of the game. It's a rough-ass game. Got to be able to withstand that. Got to be able to survive that. And they didn't. Alex, please cue up the highest-paid quarterback in the NFL of your Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, today, speaking on the Philadelphia Eagles. And, it's just so clear that he spent too much time with Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and Brian Schottenheimer, and, like, they are delusional down in Dallas. Go ahead and play it.
Like we compete with the Eagles and beat them for the most part when we played them. I don't want to say check the record when the other guy's holding the trophy right now. So credit to them, they've earned it, they deserved it by all means. But very close, especially when you can watch the NFC game, the NFC Championship. And those two teams that we battle against each and every year, a couple of times, and as I said, feel confident about we've gotten the better part each and every time. To see it in such a dominating fashion, credit to them. It's our turn, and it's one of us. All right.
Bro, I don't care about what you did the last couple years in the regular season against the Eagles. Usually it's Cooper Rush versus Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? Like, usually you're injured, and the regular season is not the playoffs. So when he's asked about how they stack up against the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning Super Bowl champs, just a day after, he's got the audacity to say we're very close. I don't want to say check the record. That's what you're saying. Check your regular season record over the year against the Eagles. Like, the Dallas Cowboys are so far away from winning a championship, especially how they fired their coach and then hired somebody that nobody else was looking to be a head coach. Like, I don't think Dak realizes how far away they are. And watch them go draft Ashton Jeanty in the first round, 12 overall, when they've got needs all across the field. They need to draft a middle linebacker. They need to draft a D tackle. This is a good draft class for defensive tackles. Maybe they don't do that first round. First round, they need to draft, I don't know, another wide receiver to go alongside CeeDee Lamb. I hate the Eagles and I hate the Dallas Cowboys, honestly. Let's go to Eli and Bayonne before we go to the next break. Eli, you got it. You're on.
How are you, Keith? What's going on?
You know, hosting the show, taking calls.
Really amazing.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I've been listening to you the last 3 years. You're really amazing.
Talk about it. Thank you. Everybody can hear you. Appreciate it.
And I especially relate to you because I'm a Brooklyn Nets New York Yankee fan.
Yeah, yes, network people, you know. Brooklyn.
What do you think the next plan is? Where do you think they're going with this year? Like, when the world is going in?
Oh, yeah. Like, at this point, I took a call earlier in the show. I forget who it was that called. we're not tanking anymore. Like these guys, the Pistons beat the Bulls tonight. So let me go check these NBA standings. Yeah, Alec, did you say that in my headphone or are you saying that on air? Alex and I used to do the Talking Nets podcast last season and the season beforehand. The writing is on the wall here for the Nets to be the 10 seed in the play-in tournament. Maybe even 9. I know that seems like a lot, but there's enough games left where the math is mathing. They can be the 10 seed.
Is there any chance they get the 60? Like, you think so? Maybe.
It's just a stretch to think that they're good enough to win. Like that would be winning a share of the games and the teams ahead of them losing. Like right now, the Detroit Pistons are some 9 games better than them. So what are the Detroit Pistons? They're pretty good. They're not going to just fall out of it, and the Nets aren't that good where they're going to lose some games. But I think the Nets know that they are not going to be that lottery ball is not going to bounce their way, and to hell with it. Jordy Fernandez wants to coach these guys to win. They have enough talent. They didn't trade Cam Johnson. They have young guys that they drafted that have gotten good minutes. Cam Thomas will come back at some point. Like they have a chance to mix it up here. And why be bums? Why be bums for a draft pick? Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is promised. And what I said to the caller before is I trust Sean Marks to scout and draft. I expect them with all these picks that they have to add more talent or trade. And I wouldn't bring in a star this next season. But they're on their way to being in contention sooner rather than later. And what I love about it is like the Knicks have a window of the next 2-3 years where they're expected to get to the finals. And I don't think they're getting to the finals in these 2-3 years. And then wait till the tables turn in 2-3 years. Like just stay down till you come up, Nets fans. Stay down till you come up. Eli? Thanks for the call, man. It's just like, yo, they had to blow the whole thing up. The biggest thing for me, I got my Nets jacket in here. I said earlier, I've been wearing Nets hoodies. I've been breaking out the Nets gear. They got Ben Simmons up out of here. I was checked out as soon as they made the trade for Ben Simmons. I had to fake the funk and pretend like I was down. And, oh, yeah, James Harden. And, nah, I never wanted them to okay that trade. I never wanted Sean Marks to accept the trade for bum-ass Ben Simmons. And now he's off the team, and the Nets have won games, and I think that they're going to continue to win. Like, looking at their upcoming schedule, like, even what they did against the Rockets, that's when I was like, all right, they went to Houston and beat the Rockets last Saturday, and then the Rockets came to Brooklyn, and they beat them with seconds left on the clock. Then they had a disappointing game against the Wizards, who are the worst team in basketball. Whatever. They kicked Ben Simmons to the curb. They turned it right back on against the Heat. They beat the Hornets. I don't see why they can't beat the Sixers tomorrow. But then they got to face the Cavs. And, there's some other team, the Thunder coming up, the Pistons who we were just talking about. They're going to lose some games. But there's enough games that I think, they have enough time between, this next 2 months that they're going to play. The season doesn't end until April 13th. And then when we get to April 13th, some of these teams, that April 13th game is Knicks versus Nets. We'll see how the Knicks are feeling in that game. And, some of these other teams that they'll play, they might not be really competing. Other teams might not be competing. And the Nets will have an opportunity to try and, rise in the standings. And so be it. The last thing I'll say about it before we break here, 888-808-1019, is like being a fan in the NFL of a tank is different than the NBA. You have one day a week where you just are not as invested and you're like, if they lose, they lose. In the NBA, it's every other night. There's no way to root for a tank. There's no way to actively watch the games and root for a tank. Like, I remember I did a show on WFAN, like a bridge show. And then I went home and I watched the Nets play the Clippers. And it was like the worst loss of the year. It was a historic loss. And I found myself on the couch like, why the hell am I up right now? I could go to bed. I'm not on tonight. I'm watching them lose to the Clippers in historic fashion. I'm like, this is stupid. But like, I'm naturally watching them lose For what? There's no way to watch your basketball team tank night after night and be invested in that. It is miserable to watch. We watched it enough this year. They had losing streaks home. They were terrible at home, whatever. I think now they've gotten to a point where the trade deadline is passed. Ben Simmons is out of there. They have enough reps and experience with each other. They know who is who and what is what. They have depth on their bench. They have enough guys that want to compete and win. Go ahead, compete and win and get into the play-in and try and make something of this season. And we'll let the chips fall where they may in the draft. Who cares? All right, let's take this break. When we come back, the rest of your calls. And then again, my guy, Anthony Pico de Gallo, is filling in for C-Mac on the overnight. This is Keith McPherson on the Fan. I'll be right back. All right, yo. Let's see here. Bro, there's so many things in the chat. What are you wearing? Like a warm-up, right? That looks like team-issued gear.
Dude, I went to Amazing Day because we did the show with Sal.
Oh, it was on sale at Amazing Day?
No, I bought a fucking. I'm an idiot. Not an idiot. I'm gullible. I bought the mystery pack.
Okay.
It was like $99. It was like, $200 offer. My girlfriend's like, you know they're gonna give you shit. I'm like, yeah, but that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
Fucking buy it. It comes with this, which this was dope enough alone. It came with the hoodie from the City Connect jersey.
Yeah.
And then it came with like a regular like workout like shirt, and then this like Doc Gooden thing that I gave to my dad. But yeah, this is dope. I don't know what
I think I have that in the Yankees version. The one I wear with the gray sleeves.
Yeah.
It looks very similar to that.
Dude,
it's like a dugout jacket.
Yeah, it's light. Like I could definitely wear this.
When they wear their black jerseys, that's the one that somebody will have on chilling in the dugout.
The black jersey stuff I like. Well, I wanted to, and it's funny, I was gonna buy something.
It's like Nike Pro or Nike Tech.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. No, it's fresh. Minus the Mets logo.
I laughed when you said his Mets uniform.
You came in here looking like you had team issue merch on. I'm like, you got actual Mets gear from the team.
Yeah, he asked me at 6. He's like, you also, I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I just ran back to my girl's house. And this was the only thing I had there that was like semi-water resistant.
No, it's nice.
Yeah.
Gave you a nod.
I appreciate it.
All right. Let me quickly try to to answer this chat. All right. I appreciate all y'all watching and interacting. Love y'all for real, man. You are part of my tribe. You are a part of my community. If there's anything I could ever do for you, if there's any way I could give back, let me know. It takes a while, but there are so many people I have answered emails and DMs for, I have shown up for, I've done things for quietly behind the scenes. I'm not looking for the, public acknowledgement of it. I'm just looking to, pay it forward and give back in a way. Cause like, I don't get to, like you guys are hearing people calling the radio station saying like, yo, this is my first time calling. Love your show. You're the best. Like, I don't get opportunities and I don't get to this point without people rocking with me. So appreciate y'all. Let me see if I can go back to where I was in the chat and try and fire off. Okay, here it was. Realistically, how many years before you think the Giants can be a legitimate playoff team? Maybe another 100 years of Giants football. Hoping we keep Rizzo around for first base insurance in case Goldschmidt needs a break or two. Hell no. They've got Goldschmidt. They've got Belly. They've got DJ. They've got Oswaldo. They even have Ben Rice. Those are 5 guys that could play first base before they would even consider paying Rizzo another dime. Liking this setup, man. Proud of you for real. Your future is fire. Keep at it, my guy. I will never stop, Lord willing, as long as there is oxygen in my lungs, as long as I can put one foot in front of the other. All of this is a product of the work. All of this is a product of stacking wins every single day and trying to do things to make myself better. And I appreciate it, man. I'm not done. Keith, why was Glaber mad at Boone being moved to another position? He wasn't mad. He just didn't want to move from second base to third base when they acquired Jazz, because last time he moved to shortstop in 2021, he wasn't very good. E-Bugs, Keith, what up? My concern is really who's our backup catcher, because Wells will need help. I just mentioned Ben Rice. Shout out to Max Manis. I saw a picture of Ben Rice in catcher's gear. But I think it's between JC Escara and the catcher that we got in the deal for Trevi, Alexander Jackson. Not great, but like that's who's on the roster. And if you remember a couple years ago, it was just Kyle Higashioka and Ben Rortvet, and then we made a trade for Trevi. Keith, will Yankees get more pitching? Yeah, they added this Tyler Matzik kid. They are making little deals and moves, picking up people. They're always looking for more pitching. Word, I need him to kill it after Weave. Yeah, Devin Williams, I'm guessing you're talking about. We need real Bronx swag on the team, not corporate. Facts. I think it's the bench coach that enforces it, Brad Ausmus. The team will fine and bench players for non-compliance. Yeah, they shouldn't have to do that. Pam, she said, I love a man with a clean shave. What you trying to say? I can't grow a beard. And like the little bit of goatee I can grow doesn't even connect. So I shave. It'll grow in a little bit. I might get it trimmed up, but like I don't need facial hair for real. Too old school with the old school winning. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's modernize. Let's get with the times. Why can't the Yankees say we added a star insurance patch to the uniforms? We're taking away the shaving policy. Burn, baby, burn. Shout out to Bernie forever, bro. Bernie is much closer to a Hall of Famer than Eli. That's not true. Bernie will probably never go to the Hall of Fame. Eli will. But I understand what you're saying, accolades-wise, but like Eli's going to get in. Bernie's not. Yeah, they should drop that policy. I feel like some players won't come here because of that. It's facts. I met Luis Castillo at the All-Star game in LA. You think like my hair is long? His hair was like down his back. Mine's down my back too, but his was like down here. You guys know who Luis Castillo is. I don't gotta explain that to you. Some guys want their look, bro. It's an aura thing. It's an energy thing. Can you imagine Aaron Judge with a beard? No. But like all these players grow one. Dominguez had one. Glaber has one right now because he's free. Get well, Lil Keith. Shout out to Jackson McPherson. Jackson is okay, like I said before. True dad life. It's all worth it. You need a good partner. Facts. I love being a dad. It is challenging. It has taught me patience. It has made me see the world differently. It has made me see parents differently, children differently. It is a perspective that I absolutely needed. You don't own cats. Cats own you. Yeah, that's facts. My cat thinks I'm a slave to her. As soon as I go home tonight, she'll be the only one up, and she will wait for me to like eat something and get in the bed, and then she will climb right on top of me. I'll give Hurts top 7 easy. Love is trash, however. Yup, that's how the MVP works. Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Burrow. You can't put Goff up there. He was terrible. Aren't the Cowboys talking about trading Parsons? Yeah, that's so dumb. They need to just find a way to pay him, but they wait and drag their feet. I hear a rumor that they might trade Micah Keith. Yeah, I was talking about that. They're idiots. If they trade Micah Parsons, a generational player that they're lucky to have been able to draft that wanted to come to them, be stupid. Nets have sucked ever since Dragan Petrovic died. Rest in peace. That's not true. They went to back-to-back finals. They've made plenty of playoff appearances. They've had good runs, but rest in peace to Dragan. The Chiefs were cursed by the Eagles fan by stabbing Mahomes' voodoo doll. Maybe. Believe what you want to believe. Some people are running with Donald Trump cursed the Chiefs because he picked the Chiefs to win because of Brittany Mahomes. They're saying he picked the Chiefs to win, and they played the worst game anyone's ever seen them play. Like they were absolute trash. So what does that say, bro? What does that say? What else we got in the chat? Anybody else? Before we go back to break, let me see where we're at here. We're still in commercial. Anybody else in the chat? 735 people watching across platforms. When I first did this, I had like 2,000. I will figure out the audio. The audio will get better. But this is just building my following, connecting with more people than I can on the radio, and be invisible. I've been following Keith since watch-alongs in Joe's basement. Seeing you on the fan is my payment. Love your success, bro. You're the man. I appreciate you. We go back to the COB chat, and man, I remember watching you like where do you live, bro? You live somewhere out there. You live in like Montana, Wyoming, or something like that. I know you're a Niners fan. I remember watching you like cook up some stuff. Even back then, I think people knew I was headed for bigger things. I was gonna go somewhere and do something. So I broke these headphones. Hey. Drop. All right. Before the verse drops, let's fade this music out and get back to the show. Keith McPherson on the fan. Another 5-hour KM to AM. You know that. Dial 888-808-1019 if you'd like to chime in on anything that we spoke on. If you want to bring anything else to the table that we haven't spoke on as we bring this thing home. Danny is in Paramus, New Jersey. Danny, you are on now.
Keith, thanks for having me on. Before you made the argument that Lamar should have won the MVP over Josh Allen based on stats, but my argument against that is that the award is for the player that adds the most value to the team, not the player that's the beneficiary for the most teammates padding their stats. And let me back that up real quick. I'm pretty sure that you'd agree that the Ravens had the better defense to get Lamar the ball back faster, better wide receivers, better tight end, better running back, and better offensive line, correct?
You can give the nod to all of those above the Bills, yes.
Okay, and despite all those disadvantages, Josh still led his team to a win over the Ravens. If both quarterbacks hypothetically switch teams, do you think that Lamar adds enough value to have beaten a Josh Allen-led Ravens team?
Maybe.
Really?
Maybe. I'm not taking anything away from Lamar Jackson in the season that he just had. There are stats and numbers to tell you how rare Lamar Jackson's season was. He's already a 2-time MVP. I think it just leaned into more that they did not want to give him a third. And Josh Allen got his first, and good for him. So did I. And like I said, there were parts during the regular season where I was like, Josh Allen is the MVP. But then Lamar came on again at the end of the year where I'm like, nah, man, these numbers side by side. I think the number one thing is people are saying, how is he first team all-team pro at quarterback and somebody else wins MVP at the same position? That's not first team. But like you said, it's Josh Allen adds more value to his team, but it's not a team award. Josh Allen should be awarded MVP of the Buffalo Bills then, not of the league. Like the most valuable player in the league as far as what he did, throwing the ball, running the ball, passing touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, touchdown to interception ratio is Lamar Jackson. Right. It's vague, it's subjective, and it falls into the hands of voters. Thanks for the call, Danny. The Bills finished one win better than the Ravens in the regular season. You could put some fault on some of those losses the Ravens had on the supporting cast, on the defense, on the coaching, and not just Lamar. The same way we say, oh, well, he had Derrick Henry. He had a better defense than the Bills. It's not about that. It's about who had the best statistical season. That is the most valuable player in the league, in my opinion. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it changes year to year. I think for a fact we all can say when you apply what happened to Nikola Jokic wins back-to-back MVPs. They give it to Embiid, and then Jokic just goes and wins the championship and wins final MVP. Embiid shouldn't have been the MVP, bro. And he had a good season, but it's like until you got a reason to dethrone that guy. If that guy is still producing at the level he's producing, Lamar had a better season this year than his MVP seasons. So it's like, I don't know, man. It doesn't matter. But I felt bad for Lamar because he ducked everything. I think he was upset. He didn't even show up to the NFL honors at all. Let's see. Lamar Jackson had more passing yards. Lamar Jackson I know he had more touchdowns. And I don't really have time to go through all this because I'm running out of time. Kevin is in Carmel, New York. What's up, Kevin? You're next.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Bringing it home. Go for it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You hear me?
Yup, you got it. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So either fire Shane and Dable or don't. They didn't. Okay. Cool. So where the hell we at? And then also, I heard you had a cat that you love. I'm like, damn, don't Google what cats will do to you, you know?
Yeah, Google is one thing. I had never had an animal growing up. My wife grew up with animals. She adopted this cat and put this cat in my apartment. I thought I was going to be able to ignore the cat. I am the one that I change the kitty litter. I feed the cat. I sleep with the cat. The cat comes to me. The cat like moves when I move. And I'm like, I had no idea. I had no idea this would happen.
Everyone keeps saying this, like, they have no choice. It's like, get rid of them, because why not extend them? Either extend them.
They have Shane and Dable have contracts that they're still under. They don't need to extend them. They got to see what happens this year. They didn't fire them, and they should have fired them, but they're practicing patience. And I think that John Mara is a victim of his own past mistakes, where he doesn't want to make a mistake again. And I think there's a lot of Giants fans that say, hey, let's just see what these guys can do versus letting John Mara make another GM and head coaching hire. But you know what? The 33rd team is out there. Thanks for the call, Kevin. If Mara feels like he needs some help, and if the Jets have a decent year this year after moving on from Aaron Rodgers, Mara can go in and list the 33rd team and say, hey, Shane and Dable are out of here. I need some help figuring out who I should hire next. Robert is in Jersey. Before we get out of here, we've got time for his call and maybe one more. Josh from Passaic is holding. Go for it, Robert.
Hey, Keith, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I know you were just talking about football, but I'm a Giants fan, so I already want to put my head through a wall with that. So I want to talk about the other team that makes me want to put my head through a wall, the Yankees. You know, Martino just tweeted out before how the Yankees were never in on Arenado and apparently Bregman either. If they don't move forward with either DJ, Waldo, or Peraza at third, what's their backup? Do they go for Nico Hoyner? Do they go for, Willie Castro? I really don't know what their plan's going to be.
Yeah, well, I don't think that they are looking to trade. I think that they honestly feel like they have enough and they want DJ to probably win the job or Cabrera to show he could be an everyday player. And if they feel like those guys are lacking, they have between now and August to go trade for a starting third baseman. I think that they look at it as like, hey, here's where we are. We weren't able to trade Marcus Stroman. DJ's making this much money. We have to go internal options here. It's not great. Like Yankee fans are like, this is them not going all in. This is them, leaving a hole in the lineup in the infield. But we've got time to sort things out, figure out where the trade. And I know Cashman has probably worked on it, and I'm fine with it. I've accepted it. Still could. Yeah. Still could. And Cash we trust. Thanks for the call, Robert. Still could. Somebody may want Marcus Stroman's services and take on his contract or some of his contract, and maybe they can figure out a deal to get another, third baseman, major league caliber third baseman. Be great. Like, how great would it be? I don't know who the guy is. Somebody that can play third and lead off. Josh is in Passaic. My last call of the night. Go for it, Josh. Pretty good. Another 5-hour show. Knocked it down. The Sixers are a joke. The Sixers are, yeah, and I hope that. Hey, we're about to play them twice in a week, I believe. Beat them at least once. You want Acuna to just get the job handed to him today? He's Jeff McNeil. He's paid. He's a veteran. They trust his bat. He's a left-handed bat. They hope they get happy Jeff, not sad Jeff. He's proven. Acuna's a kid. They can. Yeah, his attitude changed last year. You know, he was a little pissy. He had a bad attitude. You know, I think if you get happy Jeff and he's hitting and he's coming through, it'll be all right. And if he's not, they know where to go. They will pivot. You know, he didn't get any favoritism over Jose Iglesias last year, right? Like, thanks for the call. Jeff McNeil just has to perform. This guy won a batting title a couple years ago. I know everybody loves to say that, but it happened. He needs to be that. That's what they paid him for. The fans don't have to change anything. The Mets don't have to change anything. Play, compete. You know, be who they're expecting you to be. And if not, then yeah, we got some young guys that we can figure it out. Like Luis Angel Acuna, Ronnie Mauricio, Brett Beatty. You brought Pete Alonso back, so you have plenty of options in that infield if Jeff McNeil's not getting it done. When are they going to bring back? Oh, my God. When they bring back Candelita. We need the remix. Didn't he make the remix with Pit? I never even heard the Pitbull remix. The Mets got eliminated, and we just stopped playing OMG on the fan. That's crazy. That was everything. You know, I was listening to JD Martinez talk about it. Nick Castellanos said he was MVP. All right, I'm out of here. Everybody watching my live, I'm out as well. Appreciate y'all for calling the show and interacting. If I didn't get back to you online, just DM me or tweet at me. I got to drive home.